Good day everyone, we are the Group 3 and together with me today are my group mates Mr. Joseph Lazo, Arvin Mesa, Kenneth Edward Mundigo, Otto Frenskirk, Joshua Oponda, Ortega Cirillo, Paulican Warren, and Julius Nestor Pipito. So our topic for today is, next slide please, to determine the procedures in designing a predetermined route plan using table and to validate it.
So, good day guys. A voyage plan or passage plan is a comprehensive berth-to-berth guide developed and used by a vessel bridge team to determine the most favorable route, to identify potential problems or hazards along the route, and to adopt bridge management practices to ensure the vessel's safe passage. A voyage plan is used by us seafarers. So, next slide please. So, passage plan and principle of passage planning. The principle of passage planning is to develop a comprehensive navigational plan, very thorough risk assessment for the safe conduct of ship from berth to berth. Passage plan is to ensure that the bridge management is fully aware of the vessel's intended voyage and of the contingency plan. Passage plan has 4 stages. Each stage follows each other logically. So the acronym APEM or APEM. A stands for appraisal, P stands for planning, E stands for execution, and M stands for monitoring. Next please. Appraisal. Collecting, assessing all relevant information required for the intended passage. Planning, developing, and approving a passage plan based on the outcome of the appraisal of all relevant information. Execution. Briefing the bridge team on the passage plan. Navigating the ship in accordance with the passage plan, and lastly is checking or monitoring, is to check progress of the ship against the passage plan.
So next is appraisal. Appraisal, this is where we apply that time-old principle, begin with the end in mind, and decide if the passage is even viable before we spend hours planning and come to the realization that it is not. Here are a few points that form the basis for your appraisal phase. So first, start with measuring the distance from start to finish and estimating how long it would take. This will be a strong indicator of the scope of the field of the trip and will help evaluate fuel, water, provisions, spares, and any other needs. Evaluate your vessel and crew. If we have only 2 of us, it is prudent to do several overnights in a row. Is everyone capable of standing a night watch? Well, we have depth or draft concerns. Is the vessel and crew equipped or capable to go offshore? Next, factor in seasonal weather considerations such as particularly foggy months or areas, prevailing winds, regional weather systems or anomalies, and tropical storm seasons. Next slide, please. So next, anticipate dangers. These will range from shallow waters, reefs, heavily transited shipping lanes to an avoid at all costs seafood restaurant. Next, lastly, be aware of the limitations of your navigation systems. Electronic charts plotters are only as accurate as the GPS info provided. Are your users competent on the equipment? Are there any errors on your steering and electronic compass? All of these factors have large impact on your ability to navigate safely. And the factors that needed to be considered are ENC appropriate scale are up to date, is Admiralty information overlay available, do any TNP notices apply, ENC safety information readme file, next NTM's weekly article publication, and lastly considers limitations of ENC accuracy source data.
Good morning once again. I am the Cadet upon the Joshua and I am tasked for discussing planning. So plan. This is where we get the nuts and bolts of the passage plans to take into consideration of the following. So the first one is your plan needs to be from berth to berth. This will require pilotage plans. Pilotage plans detail the port of departure and arrival. Your plan should note and include tides, current, dangers, voyage, marina location, and any special port considerations such as busy commercial port with lots of traffic. This information is normally found in cruising guides or pilot books and almanacs. Second, is your departure based around an event such as Tidal Gate such in places like Hills Gate, New York? Tidal Heights at your departure arrival port is the destination point at the entry only, or what time does the fuel dock close? You might need to plan your voyage around these factors. Do you have up-to-date recent paper charts, or do you have something that resembles Sanskrit on papyrus? Cruising guides and tide tables? Do our charts have enough detail to make approaches at our destination? Also, don't forget to check if you use a chart platform that it has the full coverage in that area and has chips that are recently updated. Navigational dangers en route can be noted in a voyage plan book, which has notes on proposed trip or can be marked off on the chart for watchkeepers to be aware of. Prepare a contingency plan incorporating a port of refuge or an anchorage is key in case of bad weather or breakdowns. Have a pilotage plans for these ports or anchorage. Give rough overview of the vessel, passage plan, and crew details to shore contacts such as your family members or etc. So any delayed arrival can be passed on to the Coast Guard or any other relevant authorities.
Good day, everyone. I'm Cadet Paulican Warren B. I really want to report the execution. So, if you have finalized the voyage or passage plan, as soon as the time of departure and estimated time of arrival can be determined, with a reasonable accuracy, the voyage or passage should be executed in accordance with the plan or any changes made. So, the principles of good seamanship and maintaining a proper lookout apply when navigating electronically. Plan to use all available sources of information. Safety settings should be adjusted throughout the voyage to reflect the demands of the situation. For example, when coastal navigating, vectors or coastal corridors, XTC, and guard zones should be used. The first two pieces are now complete, and we are in our way. The skipper or the captain should have briefed his crew of the passage plan before departure if they were not part of the initial planning process. The plan must be executed as per captain's instruction. The captain also needs to be aware if the unpredicted situations arise, the plan must need to be altered.
Monitoring. Monitoring is the final part where all the planning in the world will be for naught if we don't maintain good watch and monitor our position. So whether you are using an electronic chart plotter or a more traditional means, you should record your position on a chart and in a logbook at intervals specified by the captain. Do not rely solely on automatic alarms. A prudent navigator should always seek to prove the X is wrong, rather than assuming it is correct. Use tools such as radar overlay or the RIO to assist with monitoring. An accurate RIO provides a million-point fix and allows excellent real-time monitoring, but do not rely solely upon it. Normal radar limitations still apply. Do not rely solely on GNSS input, such as GPS. Cross-check frequently with other systems, such as LORAN, C, and manual means, such as visual or radar fixing. And ensure that appropriate display settings are applied for coastal or ocean and day or night navigation. And lastly, use profiles if the functionality exists.
So thank you for that, Cadet Pipito. So we already have an overview about the 4 stages of the voyage planning. So now let's talk about how to create a predefined route plan using the table and validate. So as you can see in the picture, the first thing we need to do in order to see our own ship's position is that you just need to click the ahead icon located in the upper rightmost part. This will present the current position of your own ship. So if you want to have a clearer picture, you can use the magnifying icon located into the right part of the picture. use the magnifying icon to zoom in or zoom out to show larger scale or a smaller scale. So in creating waypoints, in creating waypoints, the first thing we need to do, Voyage Planner button located at the bottom part, and click the new button to create waypoints. And in creating more waypoints as much as needed for the voyage planning, you just make a line of the intended voyage and edit it in the table shown in the Voyage Planner. So next will be creating more waypoints. As I have said earlier, you just need to create a line for the intended voyage. Next, we have the waypoints in smaller scale.
Assuming you have already input everything from the points, you would want to zoom out, and this is how it would look like. Now, if there are any mistakes, you can go to the waypoint editor and then try to correct the mistaken points for the waypoints. Next slide, please. Now, you want to focus on the waypoint only. To do this, you must click on the focus function next to the waypoint editor. This removes everything except for the waypoint, the desired track line. Next slide, please. Okay, starting the simulation. So if you want to start the simulation tab is located at the bottom right corner, simulation here, and then you pick up the routes. You choose what route you want to simulate. Notice how the mode is currently in free mode. Okay, so simulation underway. After starting the simulation, the mode will change from free mode to route mode. And then to start the simulation, you can see here a pause or play button just near the name of the simulation here. And then you can change the speed of the vessel here at the left bottom corner.
So good morning, everyone. To continue what Mr. Lasso has discussed, I will now discuss the monitoring voyage phase. So what we have to do first is we have to locate the monitoring tab, which is located in the lower left corner of the screen. So after locating it, click it, and then you can see the route monitoring icon on this side of the screen. So it is in the middle left. So assuming that you have already clicked the monitoring tab, so you will see these types of displays. So you can see the alarms, the fast track settings, and then the number and specific type of waypoint. So next slide, please. So if you click the safety alarms, you can see the different types of alarms you can incorporate in the said voyage. So if you click deeper route, it will alarm when you are in a deeper route. So safety contour and safety depth, which are discussed by the latter groups, it's also found here. So these are its alarm configurations. So next slide, please. So again, if we zoom out, or if we went to a smaller scale using the magnifying icon, we can see that the waypoint lines are turning into a series of red lines. So before, these were blue lines. So as you can see, we have also turned on our alarms, our out of XTD, our out of schedule, our waypoint approach, and our off leg course. So XTD actually refers to the cross track distance, while the WPT means the waypoint. So next slide, please. So now we have to validate our waypoints, if it is the correct route to approach to, if it is the safest and the most accurate route that we can take. So what we have to do is, again, we have to click on the Voyage Planner tab located in the lower middle part of the screen, and then click the Edit options, which is encircled. So next slide, please. So after clicking the Edit options, you opt to click the preview icon. So if you click the preview icon, these informations will be shown. So you can then copy this to another application, for instance using an Excel file, to validate the said data with external sources such as the sailing directions and notice to mariners. Next slide, please.
So over here are references for the said study. So you can see that all for grade 3. Thank you for listening. Good day.